It's a cruel
Ask us anything, Uncle Bill.
Ask us questions.
Be like Jericho back in the day. Ask him.
That's right. Yeah. So, we've never done one of these. I mean, not on this format. We used to do these all the time back in the day.
Yeah, I think we did one, and it's on Patreon from 2014.
Jesus.
And I think we had to go back and refresh and look at YouTube comments then. Like, it was live technically, but it was not this style.
Well, we used to do questions like every week. And I feel like that was kind of like the early version of like an AMA. It was like we just had like writing questions and stuff.
So we're going to get right to it, boys. We're going to take your questions. This is like a Dead Pit shoot interview, basically. All right? Although there may be some topics, we're not going to dive into too heavily because we don't want to get sued.
Right.
Or anything like that. But, anything other than something that might involve us having to not roll over and call Grover, we're down for.
The heavy hitters. Right down the middle, Daddy.
Joe Bob Tar Heel, what is up? Not too much. It's hotter than blue hell in eastern Kentucky. Uncle Bill had to get his Freon refilled and everything. It's ridiculous.
Dude, it was like, I think at one point it was over 100 degrees here. And it was probably like 78, 79 degrees in this fucking house. And I had the thing set to like 72. I'm like...
Well, it's kind of like that here almost.
I'm not doing this shit.
The back part of the house here is an add-on, so we have a window air unit. If we didn't, I wouldn't be able to sleep in that room. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way, man. It's like miserably hot.
Rambo Raff for Life, formerly known as Rambo Fan on the Dead Pit message board. Such a glorious time. Hope you fellas are doing well. Any interesting stories from back in the day during the rivalry with Fangoria Radio? Some in the chat might know what we're talking about here, or who Fangoria Radio was.
So there was a brief period of history, very brief actually, where Dee Snider and Debbie Rochon hosted Fangoria Radio, and
it was over a span of what, maybe a couple of years?
Maybe, yeah, like 2 or 3 years is what I can remember. And I don't remember, like, the only thing I remember is we really hated Dee Snider. We really hated that show.
The show sucks, basically.
Just because it was, it wasn't even a horror show, really. It was just an excuse for him to, like, talk about, like, whatever the fuck he wanted to. And I feel like Debbie Rochon was the only one trying to keep that to be an actual, like, horror show. But he was just, it's just about his personality, like a Howard Stern kind of thing at that time. And I hated that show. I still hate that show. I mean, that show doesn't exist now, but I just hate
well, we did have
idea of it.
Debbie Rochon was on the show, our show, right around the same time. And she said that she would work on having us on Fangoria Radio, but it never happened.
yeah.
But that would have been really cool.
Did we have Debbie Rochon on? We did, didn't we? We interviewed her at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't remember if we ever tried to get Dee Snider. I don't think we did, because I don't think we much gave a shit about Dee Snider even back then.
No, his only claim to fame when it comes to horror was that movie, Strangeland, which I like. I actually like the movie. But yeah, he was a name, and I think he did other radio shows, and that's kind of what he does for a living now when he's not, doing these little bars with Twisted Sister on the weekends. Oh, Curly Jaws, what's going on? Yeah.
But I guess for like a brief period of time there, we were on his radar. At least he knew who we were, and we were giving him shit and stuff like that. I do remember that.
Right. And I think there's a couple of people that had met him wearing the Dead Pit shirt. I don't know if those photos are still around, but he was kind of a dick to those people and was like, I don't know what the fuck those guys' problems are, whatever else. Of course, I mean, that's what we heard. Anybody out there?
Allegedly.
In the photo, though, resend it, because like some of this stuff we do not have. It's lost in a dream of mirrors.
Lost in a paradox.
Alexander Lumberjack. We are live from a holler in eastern Kentucky, boys. Can you believe that? Joe Bob Tarhill is watching Problem Child 2 and checking out the stream.
Is that the one with the little girl? Like where they had it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fucking horrible movie.
He's got a stepsister now that's just as mean as him. I think that was the plot. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's something like that, yeah.
So, all of those movies in like the early 90s are just fucking dumb. I mean, they really are. And that I love the first Problem Child, but Problem Child 2 was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure Problem Child was a good movie, like, really. But it was just a product of, like, one particular point in time. But Problem Child 2, unequivocally, is a piece of shit. Like, there's no getting around
Facebook
that.
User A and Facebook User B. They're going up against the Conquistadors on SmackDown tomorrow night, so good luck.
That's right.
Hey, guys. Stuntman Mark is in the house. Bombastic reviews. Movie Junkie John, who John Cressup is starting a new YouTube channel. I think he's got a couple of videos out. And it's Movie Junkie John, baby, on YouTube.
Would you remember there was a fucking tag team at one time or another, man, in ECW? Wasn't it like Bo and something Dup? It was like Bo.
Oh, yeah, the Dup brothers.
Bowed up and fucked
Wasn't
up.
It,
or something like that.
Pucked up.
Pucked up. That's,
yeah.
That's right. God, that was
Brent Bauer says, it's most assuredly not, I repeat, not, a cool summer here in North Kakalaki. Video Horror System is in the house. And if you guys want to go ahead with the questions too.
Oh, they are.
For it.
They trust me, they are.
Blazing heat in the Midwest, according to DMC_1987. Somebody's watching Price is Right episodes with Bob Barker from 1983.
That's very specific.
Brandon Skaggs, who... Now, this kind of made me feel like a big deal, Uncle Bill. I think I messaged you and told you about it. So, Brandon is in Lexington, I think, or nearby Lexington. And I was standing around with my family and stuff like that in the Fayette Mall. And Brandon just fucking walked up to me and was like, hey, CK. And then my brother-in-law, who doesn't want to act like Dad Pitt is shit at all, he was kind of impressed by that. So I appreciate it, Brandon.
Does he really?
He's like, God damn, somebody knows you. And something else, too, it's funnier than hell, too. He thought this was a big deal because my brother-in-law, like, he's like the younger generation. Like, they don't want to act like they're impressed by anything, right?
Right.
So I was like, why don't you look my name up on IMDb, buddy? Go for it.
It's actually on there, yeah.
Yeah, and he looked, and he was like, oh, that's you? Like, yeah, buddy, I'm sort of a big deal.
I mean, at one time or another, maybe not as much now, but at one time or another, man, like, it was pretty amazing the places we would go and people would fucking, like, recognize us. I mean, there's been several times that shit's happened. Like, that's probably been 10, 15 years ago. I mean, we ain't shit now. Everybody knows that. But there was a time we were the ballers and shot callers of horror.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't want to admit it. Some people on YouTube. But the horror podcasts in 2005 did not exist.
No.
It just didn't, especially in the format that it is now. So, You know, and there's a lot of shows that's huge and it's got thousands and thousands of subscribers or whatever else. But we did it first. So fuck you.
Yeah. You fuckers. Now there's like 27 of them.
Yeah, I've lost. Jesus Christ. I lost my spot here.
You need to fucking keep up. There's like 800 questions already.
Okay. Oh, Curly Jaws has already got his next request. It's going. He wants us to review the old Curly Jaws movie, which I don't know if he found their cousins or what, but Daniel Harris, not Danielle, Daniel Harris is going to be in it, and Scott Taylor Compton. I saw their names in the credits.
That's so killer.
Rambo, Raph, do you guys follow AEW wrestling and all the new Jeff Hardy DUI arrest, the MJF promo, etc.?
I mean, I don't ever watch it, but I know about all those things just because, like, for some reason I still keep up with, like, wrestling news and things like that, even though I don't watch shows.
Yeah, I mean, I watch AEW, like, I think they were really, really hot. Probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And just the fact that, like, there's too much going on. They have too many wrestlers. There's too much going on. And he does not want to let anybody else help him book this shit. So it's kind of like a big mess now. There's, like, new people popping up all the time. You don't know who these people are. You don't know what in the hell's going on. There's no storylines. The Jeff Hardy thing, man, like, I think he needs to do some jail time. Quite a bit of jail time, actually. Because if not, he's going to end up being like Tammy. Well, Tammy did jail time, too.
I was going to say,
killing somebody.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to end up doing the same kind of thing. Like, he's one of those guys where long term, he's just not able to stop. And, I mean, I don't know if you put him anywhere if it would matter. Like, once he gets out, like, look what happened with fucking Tammy. She was arrested like a dozen times before that happened.
And one time she did like jail time for like almost a year, I think.
Yeah,
or maybe over a year, and it didn't help.
Just a mindset.
And it doesn't matter if you revoke their license either; they don't give a shit.
No,
like it don't matter, you know.
I mean, she didn't care. She didn't have a license, did she? When she fucking killed that guy,
he didn't have a license either. He was driving on suspended license. He had like, what is it? The third offense DUI is mandatory 1 year jail time, right?
That's what I
still the case.
That's what I had heard. Yeah.
Ken Carlson, do you guys? He's asking if we get the second Sight releases, in particular, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hitcher, and Martin. I didn't know they did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I didn't either.
Yeah. But The Hitcher, 100%. I'm getting both of those.
Yeah, I am too.
Man, let me tell you something, and I want to put this over because Second Sight sends review discs. They just send the fucking discs. So I don't have a reason to jack them off like Arrow or anybody else. I'm just being real to you. That Drive disc, that 4K of Drive, the second you put that thing on there, you're going to be like, what the fuck? So they do a great job. I don't know what they do that's different than anything else, because Drive is a new movie. That looked phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Looked great.
Yeah, I think that Martin is the one, though. Well, actually, Hitcher and Martin both. That I've been looking forward to either one of those movies coming out or anything like that for years, so I'll definitely get that.
Oh, we got Jaden Smith in here, Celebrity Boss.
Wow. I guess Willow was busy.
Will we ever get room tours? Uncle Bill, what do you think about a room tour, man? People like those room tour videos.
Here's the thing, though, man. I don't know how I would do it because, okay, you got to take this into consideration, right? I have in this room, and this is not a big room, I have 12 guitars. I have 2 amps.
It could be like an episode of Hoarders.
I have probably 50 posters over here. It's just like, I don't have a way to display this shit. You know what I mean? That would make it look visually appealing. I've just got a ton of shit. It's more like a storage room at this point. Now, the posters I could probably do because they're all like inside this, kind of accordion thing.
Well, there's not a way that you could like halfway straighten it up a little bit and then record it.
I mean, I don't know how, man. I don't know where I would put this shit.
People really get off on that shit. Like when Garrett does his, and Garrett, I wish to God I had as much space as he did to fucking store my shit. But yeah, he's got like pretty much a full basement, I think.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And that one's for sure coming. I think maybe late this month, early next month. The Robert Zadar story. Well, there's multiple ones actually.
Yeah, that's when I wish Goose was here.
Here's what we'll do. I mean, we can talk about Robert Zadar, but the story itself, I want to try to get Goose on to tell it because he was the Kim Shi to Robert Zadar's Kamala for that whole Darkwood show. He was the handler of Robert Zadar.
So I just give you a basic kind of breakdown of what that story was, okay? So allegedly, Robert Zadar may have had some issues with, chemicals or things like that. We don't know. And so allegedly, he may have been pretty wild for that entire weekend. And allegedly, a whole bunch of stuff happened.
Allegedly, there may have been pill residue under his nostrils. I don't know. I hear things.
But there was some of the funny shit. But I don't want to tell it because Goose is great at telling those stories, man. Like, he's like, and he lived those stories, so he should,
Yeah, and I think since Mr. Zadar has sadly passed away, there wouldn't be no reason to fucking not tell it. It's not like it's going to hurt his career or anything. I mean, Robert Zadar, towards the end of his life, had tons and tons of issues. If you met him at the Darkwood show, you fucking know,
But there's one story in particular that it killed us both. And you know the story I'm talking about. It just, I could... And
there's a few stories that involve Robert Zadar and shit, but yeah. I want Goose... I want Goose to tell it. So if we ever get Goose on, and he does his own podcast, it's kind of like a paranormal type, I don't know what you'd call it, like conspiracy theory kind of, deal. Here to chew bubblegum, I think.
Yeah, there are two guys, man, where I met them, and I thought to myself, three actually. I thought to myself, these guys are way too messed up to be doing this. They're way too messed up to be doing like anything really, like except maybe like sitting there and breathing. And Zadar was one of them. It's like,
here's a good one though. Change it up a little bit. Top 5 bands, Uncle Bill. I hate ranking shit, but I can just name 5 random ones.
Well, you playing Super Mario Brothers in there? What the fuck?
No, that's Sarah doing something. I don't know what it. She's left something open.
Top 5 bands. All right. AC/DC would have to be on there. It is kind of hip now to like shit on AC/DC. I've noticed for like the younger generation. But the truth of the matter is that band put out probably the most albums that I listen to of any other band, and can still listen to like everything in the Bon Scott era. And pretty much everything in the 80s and early 90s era of like Brian Johnson too. So, it's kind of hip to shit on them now, but to me, they're probably my number one band. Like, they just can't beat that band. So that'd be my number one.
You're saying band, just strictly bands or musical acts or what? I would say maybe he's wanting to know bands.
Yeah.
I would think you've got to put Black Sabbath in there. Not only the Aussie Black Sabbath, which that music is played a lot more than the Dio Black Sabbath, but I think maybe probably top 3 Black Sabbath albums of all time's Heaven and Hell has to be in there. The Dio.
I do too.
So I guess we'll just put Black Sabbath together as, both versions. Well, the first two versions. I'm not going to, Ian Gilliam and Tony Martin go shit and fall back in it. That shit sucks.
It really does. That's an awful, that's like the Blaze Bailey Days of Iron Maiden or something. Like, nobody remembers that shit.
Bless.
They try not to anyway.
Yeah. What about another one?
Well, for me, it's the Ramones, even though you fucking hate them. Like, I'm not sure if you hate them. I'm not sure if anybody really hates the Ramones.
I like some of their stuff. It's just not anything that I would go and listen to myself. I mean, I think we used to play a couple of their songs. What ones did we play?
We probably played, KKK, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of them. I think we played a couple of them.
I can't remember.
I can't remember the other one. No.
But I mean, as far as like, here's how whatever it is that I listen to the most, like CDs of bands that I can just like sit down and still listen to the most would be what I would consider the top 5. So the Ramones would definitely be in there. AC/DC would definitely be in there. I mean, if, and using that, maybe not, technically the best bands, but bands that I listen to the most.
I would put Leonard Skinner in there. I mean, a lot of their music's been played to death. But, like, when you consider the time that stuff came out, and Gary Rosington is just, did he get brain injury from that?
He must have. Or something.
That motherfucker was like, he could naturally just burn that fucking guitar up, back in the day.
I think that whole band, honestly, was like I said, nowadays it's really hip to shit on a lot of these classic rock, especially Leonard Skinner, because like that's the typical like free
they can go these people can fucking go to hell, because you know why? All these fucking bands now, when you go see a band live now, they ain't even got a fucking drummer. They've got a little box that they create the little beat on with their little fucking computer,
Well, that's what I was going to say though. If you look at Leonard Skinner, like in the classic era of stuff that they were putting out, and I don't even really fucking like Leonard Skinner, to be honest, but I can't deny that they had a fucking amazing band. Just the whole band. The drummer was amazing, and the guitar players were amazing. Like the piano,
crazy ahead of its time too. I mean, there's another band I want to mention here that's crazy ahead of its time as well. But yeah, Leonard Skinner, man, when you consider the time that shit came out, and just a lot of the songs that they had, the iconic songs. I don't know. Number 3, let's go through these kind of quick, because these people are burning this shit up, Uncle Bill.
I'm gonna put Iron Maiden in there somewhere. As far as like
I'll agree with you on that.
A band that I can listen, and if you look at how many albums those motherfuckers put out that are actually like great, like
that last album they put out was great.
I mean, yeah, like they through the decades have put out like good albums in every decade too.
I think they had the best comeback album of all time, though, that Brave New World album. That may be my favorite Iron Maiden album, actually.
That's a fucking amazing album too. They came out in what, 2000?
I think it was 2000.
2000, yeah.
If you can get this, I think it may be on Blu-ray now. That Rock in Rio show that they did over in
This is
Brazil.
an amazing show, yeah.
Which over there, heavy metal music is like pop music, really. So there was like 100-some thousand people there at that show. It was ridiculous. So what else? We both agree on Iron Maiden. That's number 3.
You go, because I'm thinking, Jesus, man.
Well, another band that I would say is crazy ahead of its time would be Bad Company.
It's a great
band. We got a funny Bad Company story to tell too, because like Paul Rodgers he's been the singer for. Who was he the singer for? Was he the singer for Queen for a while or something like that?
Yeah, he was.
So around this time, he was touring with Queen. And over here at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg, they were promoting Bad Company coming to the Mountain Arts Center. So if you don't know what the Mountain Arts Center is, it's this little, it's not a hole in the wall. It's actually a nice little music venue place, but it's little. It's like, what, maybe 1,000 people can sit in there? Maybe not even that many. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe like 600-700.
As it turns out, It was Paul Rogers' replacement singer, Brian Howell, who did like I think it was he did a couple of he actually had a couple of hit songs with Bad Company. He did was it Dangerous Age or something like that was the album. He did a couple albums with him. But he was the absolute shits live. And his band was fucking terrible. There was a guitar player he had. You remember this, don't you?
Well, that's what I was saying. The only thing I remember about that show at all, the only thing I remember is they had just brought that guitar player on. I think he'd just been playing with him for like a couple of weeks or something. And he was playing shit that I could play. Like, it was like the solos and stuff were just like one string, just sounded awful.
Brian Howell's he probably doesn't pay very well, or he didn't. Rest in peace.
No, I feel like, is he dead? I didn't even know he died.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago, I think.
Do you remember he got sued, like, shortly after that show, too? Like,
due to that tour, he got sued by Paul Rogers and the actual... I don't know if Bad Company was touring at the time, the band, or I don't know what the deal was with that, but yeah, he did get sued.
So that was fucking hilarious in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So Bad Company. Okay, so I would pick Zeppelin. I'll put Zeppelin in there somewhere because I would actually put... See, like, I'll just go ahead and finish mine because I just thought, like, Zeppelin and Rush would be 4 or 5 interchangeably. Like, I can listen to pretty much every Rush album up to Signals, and then after that it gets a little bit bad, but
yeah,
Led Zeppelin, I mean, I can listen to all their albums.
So, I've got to put them over. I'm sick of them. I probably don't ever physically, like, want to listen to their shit, but, like, they were so influential in some of those early albums. I got to put Kiss on there, boss.
Oh, fuck, yeah. I mean, I forgot about it. That's another band. I cannot for the life of me figure this out, but people are like, well, they were a fucking shitty band. How were they a shitty band?
No.
I do not, because those songs, if you don't play an instrument, like, you probably can't really understand this, but, like, those songs were not complicated, but the riffs and stuff in those songs are, like, amazing.
Memorable, too,
yeah,
like all of them. And, like, Ace Frehley is a guitar player. Like, I think people kind of shit on him a little bit, too, because he's just not, like the 80s speed guitar guy or anything like that. But go back, I love the solo part, the breakdown solo part in Black Diamond. You can't listen to that and not say that's fucking badass, bulls. That's badass.
He basically, like, a lot of people will tell you that Eddie Van Halen invented tapping, but I'm pretty sure Ace Frehley invented tapping, like, before him. And not just that, but, like, all those solos, you can remember them. Like, I don't give a shit about, like, I couldn't tell you the line or, like, what any of the solos for, like, bands like Dawkins and stuff like that sounded like. If you held a gun to my head right now and were like, fucking hum any solo line from, like, a Dawkins or a fucking, Motley Crue song or something like that, I couldn't tell you any of that stuff. But I could do that for Kiss.
I think is that 5?
Yeah, that's 5.
All right. Video horror system, bulls. Not really horror related. What do we think of the Death Wish series with Charles Bronson? I've seen him before, at least a couple of them, but, like, I'm not going to say I'm not a big fan of them. I just haven't watched them a whole lot.
The first one's amazing. It really is, like, in terms of, like, it's actually a good, just drama kind of movie anyway. And then they progressively get, like, sillier, kind of like Rambo. Like, the first one is, like, really kind of stands alone, and then they get sillier and more, like, action-packed. The third one, Jay Real and I were talking about this, the third one is a masterpiece of just, like, the 80s.
Didn't they make a fourth one when he was, like, 80 years old or something like that?
Yeah, it was, like, Crackdown, I think. Death Wish 4. I think I've seen it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Texas HXCX 1965. Not to be confused with 1966, baby. When is the Dead Pit documentary getting released on Blu-ray disc?
Well, we're going to hold off and put it in 4K in a Steelbook edition.
Yeah. Suspirian Nights. Favorite records in your vinyl collection. Leaving soundtracks out. So, we'll go through a couple apiece. How about that? So we don't take all fucking day.
Easy for me, though. The first one that comes to mind is Kiss Alive.
One of my favorites is Wildflowers, Tom Petty.
That's a great one. I actually haven't thought about that record in forever. That's a really underrated record, too. Just in
There's
general.
a couple of albums that, like, if I see them at Goodwill, and especially if it's just $1 at the Goodwill, I'll get them to have them in other vehicles. That's pretty bad, ain't it? But what was another one for you?
Yes, Fragile, or and I've got Fragile and Close to the Edge, which I think are. You want to talk about something that's amazing just to listen to, like the craftsmanship, the people that are actually like just insanely talented at each one of their instruments, like together. And it's. I don't think there's a better band than Yes, really. I mean, Rush might be up there, but in terms of that.
Brandon Skaggs, thank you, sir, for the super chat. He said, thanks for the in-depth discussion. You guys are great. Well, you're great too, sir. You made my day when you said, hey, it's CK over in the mall, boss.
Were you at Ashland?
No, it's in
Huntington?
Lexington.
Oh, Lexington.
It's Lexington, yeah. Oh, gosh. It's harder than hell to find you a spot on here, boys. I'm going through some of these. There's a lot of comments on here, and we appreciate you guys commenting. Also, there's 108 people in here, so thumbs up. You got to do thumbs up. I'm not going to risk saying what I was saying last time because YouTube's cracking down. It's just your thumbs.
Right.
And you just hit it. That's all you do. Hit it. Hit that like button.
You just touch it.
Yeah, touch it.
Mike?
You might be able to fondle it a little. You can fondle that like button.
Just a little bit.
I think that's legal.
Do that to the like button. Go like it right there.
Another album, real quick, that I thought of is Counting Crows, August and Everything After. That album, man, like there's a couple of albums that make you think of different time periods and shit. So it makes me think of like, in 1993 when that came out, I was in middle school.
Oh, yeah.
Beavis and Butthead was popular. Everyone was playing Super Nintendo, and like it just, I don't know. When I listen to those songs, it takes me back to that time for whatever reason. I know it's kind of odd, but
there is a band. Savannah loves this band. A guy in a band called Bright Eyes, and the guy's name is Connor Oberst. It's probably the worst shit that you'll ever try to listen to. Like, if you can imagine, like a dude with an acoustic guitar who sounds like a goat in a stairwell, that's what it sounds like. But anyway, because of that band, which I went to see 3 or 4 fucking times, there was a band that opened for them called Dawes, Dawes, which is actually a fucking amazing band. And Taylor Goldsmith, the guy that's the lead singer, is married to Mandy Moore, which I find that to be fucking insane. But anyway.
yeah, Mandy Moore used to be married to Ryan Adams. Did you ever hear about that whole thing?
No. What?
Ryan Adams is killer. Like, I like his shit. He's similar to like Jason Isbell and stuff like that. But he's been pretty much blacklisted because of allegations from Mandy Moore about him just being like I think mainly mentally abusive to her or whatever. But his shit's great. Like, I think. Anyway, Noah, have either of you seen the movie The Black Coat's Daughter? I have not.
No. Can't say I did.
Matt is asking, were you all fans of the new Ty Weston movie X?
Oh, I was a huge fan of it. I think we both were. Like, I think in terms of horror films, it's on the top of our list of the last, year or so.
Yeah. If you missed it, Matt, we do have an in-depth review. I think that's only on Patreon. I can't remember. I think it is. But yeah, search for it on there. X-Ray Punch is asking, whatever happened to Eli Roth voicemail message vid. It was classic shit. Did the powers that be take it down? Are you talking about the one with the? Was it the real early one that had the mouth cut out and Uncle Bill was doing like the? I didn't know that was taken down.
I forgot about that. It probably was.
Yeah, they probably, because it was labeled as an Eli Roth interview or something like that, right?
Yeah.
How would you do a sequel to The Fog 2005 from Old Curly Charles?
Oh, I'd have everybody get on a boat and then fucking sink it. That's how I would do the sequel.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Anthony, what's up, man? What's your favorite movie theater memory when it comes to the horror genre?
God damn, man.
One that pops into my mind just because it was one of the very early ones that me and a buddy of mine got to go in by ourselves, no parents. Return of the Living Dead Part 2 at the Strand Twin. And I remember loving the hell out of that movie when I first saw it, right? I mean, it's not the best movie, but it's goofy fun. If you're a kid, you're probably going to like it.
I'm going to go with Night of the Living Dead 90. Me and Dad went to see it, and then we ended up going to see Land of the Dead. I think like Romero was kind of our thing, so I would probably pick that because I can still remember like we were the only two people in that fucking theater, and I can still remember it being like great.
There's a couple of memorable ones with me and you though going for the On the Road
yeah.
and stuff that I can remember. Like, well, this was pre On the Road. Oddly enough, High Tension played in the theater in Pikeville, and we went to it, and we were the only ones there. We didn't really know a whole lot about it, and we were just blown away by it.
One of my favorite memories related to movies, just in general, and you can see it on YouTube still, I think, is the Twilight shit that we did. Like, where we drove past, like, everybody standing in line to watch Twilight, and just basically berated them for 10 minutes. It's still one of the funny. I still will turn that on and just laugh my ass off. Because, like, there's a point in it where you go.
I completely forgot about it. You was the one that reminded me. I didn't even remember doing it.
Because, like, the first time we did it, right? Like, I'm driving and you're on the passenger side. So, like, you're right next to the crowd. The first time that we do it, like, you scream something like, let's, Twilight or something, right?
Team Jacob or something like that. Right?
And then we circle back around, and then we could do it again. And then you say something like, Team Jacob. But then there's a point where you're like, let's go to Dakota Fanning. And then, like, they realize that we're, like, fucking with them at that point. And it's great.
Rye the Horror Guy, how many hats? I have no idea how many hats I've got. I've got a few. I've got a whole box of hats out there in that storage building. I don't know where they're at. Blair Hathaway's requesting a show about the history of DEADPIT. Well, that may be a good Patreon exclusive show.
God, that would take forever, too.
We could break it up into parts or something.
Be like 2005. It'd take fucking 10 hours.
Brent Bowers, what's the story with the website? I went to type it in and noticed it doesn't come up for me any longer. Which website are you talking about?
I'm assuming he's talking about DEADPIT, isn't he?
The DEADPIT site works. I was just on there today. Clear your cash out, playa. Movie Junkie John, favorite convention celebrity y'all ever met?
See, this is tough because, like, there's a lot of different reasons for, like, liking them. And, like, a lot of different things happen that are equally memorable in different ways. Fuck. Listen, the person that treated us most like we weren't, just like fanboys or anything was Tiffany Shepis. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that. Like, she was the one that was like, she's like a sister or something. So, listen.
I don't know if I'd say that.
I'm just saying, like, that's...
Well, we are in Eastern Kentucky, so...
Anyway, like, she was the one that was the most kind of like, I don't know. It's just like we clicked with the most for some reason.
I think Adrienne King is really nice too. Great experience with her.
Freaking John Dugan, man. Yeah, John Dugan was insanely nice. In terms of we didn't really have, as far as I can remember, I don't think we had really like any great experiences with like the bigger name ones. I don't even think John Carpenter was awake when I met him. I'm not positive. Like, he was functional. John Landis was kind of douchey in a weird way. Like, who's some of the other big, like Robert Englund? You just kind of like go through.
Yeah, Robert Englund was just going through like crazy. I mean, he was fine. I'm not going to say he was a dick or anything, but it was just like boom, 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 boom. Going through some more people in here. Joe Jack is in the house. Alpha Romero, the mayor. Rob Zilla's putting over the ding dongs in WCW. Foz Rotten, the composer for Boom Bap, the MWO theme. He got his Dead Pit Pride shirt in, and he's going to wear it this weekend, boys.
Hell
it
yeah.
Looks great. Shop.deadpit.com. Spookhouse Plastic, hello from Alabama. I bet it's hot down there in Alabama.
Oh, I bet it is.
Oh, shit, my shit froze up again.
What'd you do, you Alabama jammer?
I was on like around, Jesus Christ.
You looking at porn as well as this?
Yeah. Eric Fetchit says, nobody has done it better than Dead Pit did it in the glory years. Well, things is different now, like, too, like, as far as doing interviews and stuff, like, social media is almost like a status thing now. So, if you've got, like, 15, 20,000 followers on, YouTube or Instagram or whatever, that gives you instant status. Whereas back then, we were the only ones around, and horror talk radio was kind of a big deal.
There's, honest to God, there's too many people doing this shit now, and like they're basically all doing the same format. It's
Facebook, one of the Facebook users is Bradley Taylor.
Oh, hi Bradley. What about this one? What? I thought this was pretty interesting. Who is your current favorite director and why?
Oh God.
Puffins. No.
She's about had it with somebody. Current favorite director. I would say the one that I'm kind of interested in seeing what he does next is Ari Aster.
That dog's going fucking wild in there.
She's going to lose her voice.
I would either say him, same thing, him or Robert Eggers.
What about the Vince McMahon scandal that just recently? It's still kind of developing where Vince has got some hush money for one of his whoas and supposedly used company money, boys. That wasn't his personal money. That's company money.
I mean, I'm of the mindset of kind of like, that's been going on for 40 years now. And it's just like, just now they probably like gave a shit. But I mean, that guy's been doing that for 40 years.
Oh, yeah. Was Coal Miner CK and Janitor Uncle Bill at work? No, it was a shoot.
Straight shoot.
What's going on? Subjective Perspective Collective. People putting over MJF. Bug-Eyed Betty is missing Garrett, the pretty boy. He'll be back. We're doing a Hall of Fame for horror media here next week. I think he'll be on that. Is Captain B playing in rehab for his gummy addiction? He was. He's out now. So he's back on the wagon, if you will.
He had to switch over to CBD and marijuana light.
What does the future hold for Dead Pit?
It's like one of them fucking 8 balls that you used to have. Oh, it's uncertain. It's unclear.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, I'm still behind. I think I'm on I'm 30 minutes behind on these fucking things. So I want to try to scroll through them. a little bit. R.I.P. Kamala. Lawn furniture's in the house. He's got an interesting one. Any bizarre interview stories from back in the day?
Oh yeah, there's several. Like the first one that always comes to my mind is Gary Clark. And the image that comes to my mind, it's like a core memory, permanently burned to my brain, is that like about hour 3 or 4 into him just talking nonstop, right? I just look over and you got like a fucking one of them styrofoam things of breakfast.
Yeah, my dad brought like pancakes or something, yeah.
And you eat the whole fucking thing and he doesn't like stop talking.
The Gary Clark interview isn't really that much of an interview. He's just basically talking for seriously, what was it? It's 3 hours, wasn't it? Wasn't it like
at least. I just wanted to die after a while, man. I was like, just somehow or another, like we were getting up and pissing and shitting and doing whatever. Like he was just, you did not, like I don't think we asked him maybe 2 questions. And then it was just like him talking. But what's another one, though? I mean, that one we bring up a lot.
One that I think is hilarious is Tom Savini. So we were doing May, I think it was the first ever May of the Dead for like, what was the year? 2006, I think?
Probably.
And we were like talking, I think you emailed Savini. And back then they had their emails on their website pretty much. You know, you could get a hold of almost anybody. And trying to set this thing up, it didn't look like it was going to happen. And we both cut the biggest fucking promo on Savini. So we recorded on Thursday night. We cut like the call, because at this point too, you'd met Savini like a couple of years earlier, and he was a big dick like he always is at these shows.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have anything. You know, so we was fucking letting loose on Savini. And then you'd sent me an email, and I think you'd left a voicemail or whatever, saying, do not edit that shit out. Do not. He's going to do it today. And we recorded it I think that Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So that was kind of a funny one too.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to believe how easy it was to get interviews back then. Because essentially, like, we never really went through anybody's agent or anything like that. Not a whole lot. Like, we just directly kind of emailed whoever's website. Like, and that's where the majority of those interviews came from.
Matt Boy Color talked to us at a horror convention in Indianapolis. It was definitely a horror hound. I've never been to a Days of the Dead show.
No.
No offense to Days of the Dead. I just never have been to one. Thin Lizzy's a good band as well. I think they're kind of underrated. Holiday Styles is asking if we've ever done drugs before. No. Garrett would be happy about that. Never done drugs.
We're straight edge and better than you.
Yeah. Mid-level media is in the house. Most anticipated physical media release in the next couple of months. That's a good one.
Oh, God.
I would say Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not been announced yet, but it's coming, boys. That'll probably be announced, I would say, any time now, actually. I'm surprised that Dawn of the Discs hasn't found a listing for it online anywhere. Because it's for sure, like that one, the last I heard, it's 100% coming out this fall. And we're talking about 1986 Trick or Treat.
Yeah, there's just too many things that are adding up to that's coming out. Like, we kind of got an inside source to that, but of course he's being like, God, it just drives me nuts nowadays. He won't give us a scoop for nothing. But anyway, there's other stuff that points to that's definitely coming out around September or October. I'll tell you the one I'm looking forward to, though, is Fright Night and Fright Night 2, because that son of a bitch is coming out from Arrow. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I know it is. Like, probably around the same time.
Yeah, I think that they need a Fright Night. Well, definitely Fright Night 2, which I'm not as big of a fan of Fright Night 2 as a lot of other people, but it does need a release for sure. And I think Fright Night, the original, there's not been really. I mean, Sony did a special edition, kind of.
Wasn't there like a Twilight Time release of that or something? Like that was.
Yeah, but then they did another one. Like Sony did another one a few years ago. But also, we are going to be on with Mid-Level Media on Tuesday, the world's greatest collectors, Uncle Bill. We're some of the greatest. We're going to be on episode 38 talking all physical media on that show. So that'll be fun.
I don't know about greatest, but we certainly do have a lot of useless shit. And there's a
We're
lot.
the best around. Yeah, people going through their bands. That tells you how far behind I am on there. So I'm scrolling through some of these, boys. Favorite band live that you've seen live?
Oh my god. Shit. Okay. I got two. No doubt in my mind that my favorite concert was Rush. I had amazing fucking tickets to that concert, and like that was like the last show that they ever played. That's the last tour that they ever will do because Neil Peart died. But
Yeah, the rest of them was older than fuck.
One that's even more memorable than that for like odd reasons is fucking Nashville Pussy. Like,
yeah, I talk about that one a lot too because my dad went with us to that one, and it was like it was in this little fucking bar that's about the size. It's not even a bar. It was like a dive.
I've never been in a concert in a place that fucking small. It was like being in your living room or something.
And they had their full like arena setup in there. And when they fucking started playing, like it was one of the opening acts that started playing, you felt the damn bass thumping your innards, boys. I mean, it was that damn loud.
Yeah, it was insanely like loud, and people were going nuts. And
it was a great show. Yeah, my dad, the first song in, he went to the bathroom and stuffed his ears with toilet paper, and he was fine the rest of the night.
It was so
I think, as far as live shows go, though, one of the very few times that a live show gave me goosebumps, right? And I was not even, I mean, I was a fan for sure, but this made me kind of like a big fan of Dio's when we saw him live and heard, like, he had to be what? He was in his mid-60s at this point, probably.
Had to be, yeah.
His voice live was one of the strongest, like, vocal, maybe ever, I think, that I've ever seen live. It was just unreal.
That whole thing, like, that's amazing to think back about, that we saw those three bands, like, in the same card. Like, we saw Motorhead, Dio, and Iron Maiden in the same show. And, like, that's got to be, like, the best overall, you know, in terms of bang for your buck.
Yeah. Subjective, perspective, collective, putting over Pink. I like Pink Floyd, too. Like, Pink Floyd is like music that you can just listen to all day, that you could have on in the background. But, I mean, it's... You know, as far as my top tier stuff, I don't think they would be that, but they're really good. I like Pink Floyd. So I'm catching up a little bit, boys. I'm about 25 minutes behind now. God, it froze up again, Uncle Bill.
Hold on, I don't know where you're at on here.
Let me see. Yeah, some more music stuff. Ryan Adams is back, apparently. Oh, he's touring. I didn't know that.
Huh.
Yeah, he never did get charged with anything. What Blu-ray will Severin release with the wrong front and get in deep? They're not going to do that again because they almost went out of business that last time because of it.
This is an interesting question, man. Top 5 vehicles in movies or shows?
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, you got to go with, like, for me, you got to go with Kit from Knight Rider. You got to go with the Batmobile, like, in any variation of it. The DeLorean from Back to the Future, like, I don't know how the fuck you could not. That's, like, the most iconic to me from the 80s.
Yeah, if you're going movies in general, or you're talking about horror movies, it would have to be the Hemi Cuda in Phantasm.
Yeah.
Which, that vehicle is like fucking skyrocketed in price, too. I think like Barrett Jackson had one that went for like 150,000 or something like that. Probably more than that now. That was a few years ago.
What else you think? One more. Pick one more. There's got to be something we're not thinking about.
As far as just vehicles in general, what about the A-Team van, boys? That's kind of iconic.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too.
Friday the 13th in 3D would be a memorable movie. Yeah, that I would have loved to seen that in theaters because that 3D actually works. Spookhouse Plastic says, Into the Pit was not bad. Wish you guys were more proud of it.
I actually I don't.
Hey, is that Kelly? Hey, Kelly, what's up, man?
Is that Kelly?
No, I don't know. I'm just being a dickhead.
I don't have that much of a problem with Into the Pit, honestly. But here's the thing. And here's something that I don't know if we've ever talked about before in anything, but I remember distinctly, when we were doing the show and he asked us to do that documentary, I was like, no. There's nothing, there's no, what is interesting enough about our lives to do a documentary, even at that time, But eventually we got to the point where we were like, it would be a great kind of promotion for the show. And that's basically why we did it. Mm-hmm. But in terms of actually having anything of note to really talk about, or to put into a documentary like that was not.
And we've talked about this before. There's a good opportunity to re-release it it never did get picked up by anybody.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff that's being released, some of these Vinegar Syndrome partner labels and all this bullshit, that End of the Pit is definitely up to snuff when it comes to some of the shit that they're coming out with. So it's possible.
There's tons of shit on Amazon Prime that's that's filmed worse and is a lot, more kind of unintelligible than Into the Pit. I just think that I think we knew that there wasn't a story there really, but we just kind of did it anyway because how often do you get asked for somebody to make a documentary about,
Well, and the truth is too is most documentaries, they actually go and live with the subject for months and months and months or whatever. They didn't have the budget to do that. They came down here twice and filmed us at a convention a couple of times. And
that was the one thing I never understood about it, right? So he's wanting to make this big feature-length documentary, and he probably wasn't down here for what? Maybe 3 or 4 days? Something like that?
Both times combined, yeah.
Yeah, and then was at one convention that I can really remember, maybe 2 conventions. And it's just that's not, what are you going to film in that amount of time,
No, we've hinted back and forth about doing something else with Into the Pit, but I don't know. We'll see. Will 1982, is there any local legends or creepy stories from your neck of the woods that fascinated you guys growing up? Not really. I can't think of any.
I just sitting here thinking.
I don't have one, I don't believe. There's one that, this was way before her time, wasn't her name Mariel Baldridge or something like that was murdered here in the 30s. But that was way ahead. I think there's a book out about it or something.
The only thing I can even think of is the Tudor Key grave that's supposed to glow green.
Oh.
And that still supposedly happens, but I don't know.
There's an interesting development that happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
It could definitely be a Dateline episode. So Dewey Lake is literally 2 miles from my house. And they discovered a car with a corpse in it that contained a body of a man that had been missing since 1990. Now, how that happens, how he was at the bottom of the fucking lake like Jason Voorhees for 30 years, 32 years. So that's an odd story there.
I can't only imagine what that body looked like.
Born to be Rad, he says, yo, I want to know if you guys are going to tune in for the first Rat Pack show tomorrow night.
Does he?
I think he's talking about Rad Pack. You got to get the name of your show right. Come on. But Friday nights are not good for me, man. I want to use one of his lines.
Listen, I got nothing but respect for the Rad Pack, but I'm not going to support anything that's not DEADPIT from now on.
That's true. Shawnee Knoxville's still talking about.
I'm going to watch it.
Manic Exorcism wants to know what porn I'm watching these days.
That's a fair question.
I like the vintage stuff, so I've been watching Summer Camp Girls on repeat for
God damn.
the last couple months. I'm trying to memorize every line in it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good dialogue.
Everyone knows that CK and UB are social media influencers.
That's right.
Oh. The XFL is making another comeback next year. I think The Rock bought it, didn't he?
He did. That's never going to work, man. Like that, just people just don't give a shit.
No, the thing's been on life support. Well, it's died a few times and they revived it. Do you think we'll get Sleepaway Camp movies in 4K? Would be killer to get a box set of them in the vein of the Red Cross box set.
I don't know why not, because I was thinking like Scream Factory had the rights to all of them at one time, at least the ones that are worth shit. Nobody cares about Return to Sleepaway Camp.
Except old Curly Joe's. He likes it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're all going to come out again now. Will they benefit from 4K? I don't know. I heard the Blu-rays didn't even look that great. So, we'll see.
If I could talk to anybody, though, like any celebrity, about horror films, it would be Pamela Springsteen. Because she's just the one person that I would love to know, A, how she got into that shit, B, like what she thinks about those movies now, and C, what Bruce is doing, and if he can hook us up.
Yeah. Or is he going to leave us dancing in the dark, Uncle Bill? That's the question. Right. Ghostface 320 says, hopefully, paying $80 for Sleepaway Camp sequel is retarded. And, yeah, I don't condone that language, sir, but it is kind of.
It is. It's mentally challenged.
I think people are paying more than even $80 for it. Right? And I would just advise you, if you're wanting to get the movie, get the DVD of it. I mean, it's a good placeholder until it comes back out again. Trust me, because when the 4Ks of those sequels come out, and they are going to come out, somebody's going to come out with them, whether it be Scream Factory again, or Arrow, or whoever. Those Scream Factory editions are going to plummet the value of them damn things. So you've wasted $80 or whatever the hell you spent on it. Axel Foley says y'all pulled the best interviews, Bulls. We'll appreciate it, sir. It was almost like a who's who. I mean, there's a few people we didn't get, but we got a lot.
Only one I really regret was Craven.
Yeah, we came close. We actually did come pretty close. Hey, Bulls, as far as classic horror actors like Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Peter Lorre, Karloff, Lugosi, who's your favorite, or any that you don't get tired of watching their films? My favorite of that bunch would probably be Vincent Price.
Yeah, I'm probably going to say like either Vincent Price or Peter Cushing. Like I always thought that Peter Cushing was a amazing face, if you will, when he did all the Van Helsing stuff.
Yeah, Vincent Price, like just his voice alone, and listening to him emote or whatever you call it, that entertains me. How did you first meet Michael Felcher, and how was the process from first meeting to becoming close friends? Well, I don't know how close or friends we are with him because he won't tell us anything anymore.
Yeah.
But the truth is, Felcher never really told us a whole lot when it comes to scoops. But we had Don May Jr. on the show the first time, and he let it out that Monster Squad was coming to DVD. And that was one of the big news stories that we run with and was on like big websites at the time, Bloody Disgusting, Ain't It Cool News and stuff like that. So that's how Felcher become aware of us, I believe.
No, it actually goes back further than that, if you
really?
remember. Because back when we were doing Horrorgraphs, we both wrote to Felcher because we were writing to like anybody and everybody that had anything to do with like horror films at that point in time. Mm-hmm. And he brought it up in like one of the first times we ever talked to him, like in the interviews we talked to him, that like we had written like fan letters to him and gotten like
I don't remember this at all.
You don't remember it? Go back and listen to. And if we could talk to him about it, like if he was on here, I mean, it's true though. At least me, I know I did because I can remember like I've still got the shit that he signed like somewhere. But yeah, like that's the first kind of way that we knew of him. Because around that time he was producing a lot of documentaries and things like that for these DVDs that were coming out.
And the first time that I don't think we actually met Felcher at this show, but I recall him being at the Anchor Bay booth at that Horror Find Weekend show in 2004, pre-DEADPIT, and that was probably pre-fan. I don't think we started doing the Horrorgraphs thing until later on that fall, so that's probably pre.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but it seems like he's like we saw him at a bunch of different conventions, and like through the show and the conventions, like we always just kind of clicked, and him and Don May and stuff, like all of us always just kind of got along.
Yeah, kind of, and Jerry, the other, went out to eat times with them, and I don't know, just the same sort of character, like so. There are horror fans, and I'm not dissing none of yous, because I don't give a shit. There are horror fans that are the gothic kind, that have all black on, and tattoos, and black hair, and shit. And there's just the fucking nerdy, and we're the nerdy side. We're on the nerdy side. That, we don't want to be badass and brutal, we just want to talk about this shit.
We're on the nerdy side of the night.
The nerdy side of the night. So I did see this though. Second Sight did announce Texas Chainsaw Massacre was coming, so that would be very interesting to see if they do a new transfer on that or what the deal is. Damien's asking about Nightmare on Elm Street box set, San Diego Comic-Con. Are they dropping the bomb on us?
Listen, I've got to think they're doing that soon. They don't have anything else really, do they? Like there's no other big thing they could come out and be like, this is what we got. Like they've got to do that.
I don't know if it's coming this year, but there was a set of photos that had come out, and there were a couple of different things that I was hearing at the time, and it was 4Ks. So evidently those photos were legit. That was legit, like a legit proposal to Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers owns them. And the way Warner Brothers does things is they want stuff in a package. So if you want all the Elm Street movies, you've got to take, B, C, D, and E as well for, sum of money or whatever. So at that point in time, they were definitely interested in doing it. I mean, they went so far as actually putting packaging and shit like that together. But whether or not it comes out this year, I don't think so. Simply because the Halloweens are going to be coming out, the other half of the Halloween set, and I don't think they're going to try to do both.
It's true. That's a good point. I've noticed though that there's no way to keep any of this stuff secret anymore now because like everybody has an Instagram or a Facebook and they'll say shit like, I just finished up a fucking commentary with so and so, and then like 1,000 fans will know exactly what disc they're talking about. So it's, you know, you can't really do that anymore.
God, there's some fucking wild ass questions.
I haven't looked, so I don't know.
I'm not going to. Yeah, there's something about Jesus Christ, Joe Jack. Do y'all think nostalgia is causing our culture to stagnate? I feel like stuff stopped changing these past 10, 15 years. Yeah, I think so too.
I definitely think nostalgia is highly overrated. Like, I mean, we're like a part of that, but I just think it's gotten to be so fucking. Just every new show now is based in the 80s or the 90s, or it's too much nowadays.
Well, I was talking about this with a couple people. I think me and Jay Real was talking about it, and you and I may have been talking about it one night. Doesn't it seem like there was a certain time frame, like I don't know if it's the late 90s, early 2000s, to where original ideas and stories and just great concepts for movies kind of stopped almost entirely.
Yeah.
And you started having your Spider-Man movies and your other comic book movies, and you started having remakes. Right. So I was talking about, like, you know, when you watched Seven for the first time at the very end, right? It's a movie that made you think, holy shit, what the fuck have I seen here, boys? What the hell is going on? Shawshank Redemption's another one where you're like, oh, your mind is fucking blown. You know, there's not that many movies like that anymore. Like, hardly at all.
Something happened in the 2000s where they started treating movies more like a corporation or an investment. You know what I mean? Like everything had to be managed in terms of, because they started spending more money on marketing. They were spending so much money on marketing that they had to make sure that the film made back money. So you either then had you had to make a remake, something that was already known, a sequel, a comic book movie, something that was like guaranteed to make money. And all of the shit that the original ideas, like, you know, you can't really like do that anymore because it's like a bank now. Basically, movies are like run by banks. Like, that's all the like. It's not like it was in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, it's like Disney now, man. It's completely different than what they were in the 90s, the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's nothing. Like, there's nothing that they work on for longer than a year, and it's out, and they're making money on it, and they're on to the next one because they've got these Marvel movies planned out with the logos and all this bullshit for probably like the next 6-7 years. And they're taking these properties, like Star Wars is another one that they have just, I could give two shits about fucking Star Wars anymore. They've just put it out everywhere. You know, you've got Darth Vader humidifiers or whatever. Like, they've marketed the shit out of it, and it's just not fun anymore, you know?
And they made two really, really horrible movies, too. Like, and that's kind of the part where what it really boils down to is even when they try to do something nowadays, you know, with the like trilogies and things like that, it's just...
If you had to pick your favorite superhero movie, though, post like 2000, since all this big craze, what one would you pick as your favorite?
The Watchmen. Followed by probably like Dark Knight.
See, I would say Guardians of the Galaxy would probably be my favorite one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I think that it was very, very well done. But I like The Watchmen as well. I'm surprised they didn't try to make another one. Slaughterport, Tales from the Crypt, or Tales from the Dark Side?
God, that is a tough question. In hindsight, though, looking at those two now, Tales from the Crypt, it had a better budget, it had more gore, it could actually you could actually have language and nudity and stuff.
The nostalgia is in Tales from the Dark Side's corner, but holding up as far as you're watching them back to back today, Tales from the Crypt is a much better show.
Yeah.
Favorite Freddy one-liner?
It's
I've
easy.
got one.
That's easy for me. Go ahead.
Are we going to pick the same one?
Probably. Go ahead.
So I think it was like part 5. Was it
Yeah.
part 5 where he's feeding this girl?
Yeah. That's it.
It's bon appetit, bitch.
It's the way that he says it too.
Yeah.
Because like there's a
he
long
turns his head around there.
yeah, there's like a pause and he's like, bon appetit, bitch. I still say that from time to time.
Yeah.
And then like the other one probably be like, welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, but the way he says it and delivers the line, it's just fucking hilarious. Because you think it's just going to be bon appetit.
Yeah, and then it's so killer.
Oh gosh, let's see. Christine's another one that we didn't think of though for vehicles. That's an epic one.
That's definitely true. If you're talking about horror films, like just in general, that's a whole other kind of thing.
Carded Redemption is going back to the
Fuck.
movie we watched last week. How much money would you take to star
What?
in a movie with live wild tigers, lions, and cheetahs, and pumas and stuff?
What good is money gonna do you when they fucking scratch your eyeballs out and you're dead? Like,
Well, nobody
There-
got killed. You could possibly get maimed, scalped, or whatever. But if you're guaranteed not to die, how much money would you take?
okay, so if I was guaranteed that they can't kill me, somehow like they clip their nails or something, I don't
Which
know,
means
and their
they could,
fangs.
the lions could rape you. So that
Okay.
could happen.
So now we're getting more in depth. So you could be raped by a lion,
Yeah.
and you could be like maimed and mutilated. I'd have to have at least 20 million. I think for 20 million, I'd probably do it.
And for anybody that's wondering, Roar is the name of the movie. And you can watch it on YouTube, and we did a commentary for it by Carded Redemption's request, who I'd never heard of this movie before, so thank you, sir. That was an experience for sure.
Yeah, I would say that's probably like the most surprising movie, like where I didn't know anything about it or didn't know what it was going to be exactly, and then like to have it be what it was. Like I think everybody should watch that movie just for how crazy it is.
Favorite Saturday morning cartoons from Joe Jack?
I mean, the ones that I watched were G.I. Joe. I don't know if it's a Saturday morning, but these are the cartoons that I watched. G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, the
Smurfs.
Of course, the Smurfs.
Everybody watched the
The
Smurfs.
wrestling, what was it? The rock and roll wrestling.
Oh yeah, rock and wrestling show.
Yeah. Those are the main ones I can remember. Oh,
Was-
Chippendales Rescue Rangers.
Was He-Man? Was that a Saturday morning cartoon? It
think
seemed like
so.
that was on like during the week or something.
I think that was on Saturday too, though. Or, I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, the original Scooby-Doo. Like when I was a kid, I loved the original Scooby-Doo, but when Scrappy got on there, I fucking hated those shows. So that was a different show. But as a kid, I didn't realize, I was like, some of these shows got that little fucking bastard Scrappy.
You didn't like Scrappy at all?
No. I hated him actually, but I love the old Scooby-Doo shows. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You was the original show, right? And then I think
Yes.
the other one was just Scooby-Doo or something.
So let me ask you a question. Did you like Shemp?
Yes.
I did too.
I liked... Shemp was after Curly, and then was it Curly Joe after Shemp? Is that right?
Yes, Curly Joe was like one of the last incarnations.
And then they had different like touring incarnations of like whenever was it? Who was it? I know that Shemp died too, and then it was Larry and Moe, and then they had somebody else. I can't remember their names. Some jabroni stooges. Did you guys see that A Dark Night of the Scarecrow VHS sold for $5,400 on eBay? VHS collectors are surely the worst collectors these days. I don't believe that somebody paid $5,400 for a damn videotape. I think it may have sold for that as a joke, but I don't think it. I don't believe anybody bought it for that.
That whole thing to me is a perfect example of like people creating something that doesn't really exist. In other words, like there's a small group, a very, very small group of people that are like raiding these VHS tapes and then trying to sell them for like tens of thousands of dollars and stuff. That's just a bunch of bullshit that like somebody created. Like nobody's gonna pay. I mean that doesn't exist. Except
I don't
for
think
like
so either. Falls Rotten said that he would pay cash for an Into the Pit Blu-ray special edition.
yeah.
Dawn of the Dude, favorite VHS box art, Uncle Bill.
Lord.
Rapid fire.
Oh God. Fuck. I don't fucking know. Like just anything.
I would say Return of the Living Dead is probably my favorite.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Rambo Raff. Into the Pit, he said, seemed like it would be more of a Dead Pit versus the world. Dead Pit is the underdogs, and it seemed to win away. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker, so I don't know what I would have done differently, but, yeah, I got what you're saying there. Skull of the Abyss says, Vinegar Syndrome partner label releases are 100% trash. Save TerraVision.
That's more of a comment than it is a question, but that's very true.
Joe Bob, worst movie theater experience you ever had in general? He said his was Catwoman from 2004.
I go back to this 100 times because I think it was the worst experience was fucking The Fog. The Fog remake.
Yeah, sorry, old Curly Jaws. I agree with that. I wanted to leave, actually, during that one. Yeah, that was probably the worst. Joe Bob says, Cool Duder is a shit eater. I don't know where that comes from. What'd he do to you, Joe Bob? A commentary track for Into the Pit would be hilarious. Yeah, that's one thing that we never did do.
I think it would make the movie like 1,000 times better if there was a commentary track of us.
Which, I mean, that was originally the idea, but for some reason we never did do it. I think that they were wanting us to do it, but I don't know why it never happened. Darcy the Mail Girl porn is the way to go. I've seen some of her stuff. She's wild, that's for sure. Born to Be Rad's really putting over Into the Pit. He said there was a story there, in my opinion. It almost kind of led to you guys going away for a while. There's a story there. Well, you got to understand that movie was made in 2007. It didn't come out until 2009. We didn't quit doing the show until 2016.
Sounds right.
Target buy two get one sale, Uncle Bill. Have you gotten anything lately?
No.
I'm staying away from the sales.
I'm not doing any more sales. God damn.
Especially with gas prices as high as they are. It's ridiculous. It makes me want to vomit every damn time I go get gas, and it's like $60.
I know, man. Like, I don't even want to get into it. Because it, like, right now is the worst, too, because when you turn your air conditioner and shit on like that, like, it's just, you might as well be pissing gas out there.
Old Curly Jaw says WWF equals Dead Pit, WCW equals Born to Be Rad, ECW equals Old Curly Jaws.
That's somehow or another fairly accurate, yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, this is true. Brian Goes Blues talking about the Sleepaway Camp sequels. 88 Films has, if you have a region free player, you can get the exact same transfers and everything for like $15 a piece. So, I understand there's people that collect out there and want to have like a complete Scream Factory set. Our buddy Pop is one of them. But yeah, they were going to re-release all this shit. Do you have any thoughts on Dead Ringers, Uncle Bill? I don't.
Love that movie. Jeremy Irons is amazing in it. Cronenberg is an amazing director. I need to do a show on Cronenberg films. That really, like, I just got to figure out how to do it. Like what kind of theme it would have or whatever. You know what I mean?
Runk is really wanting to do the show about cruising, by the way.
Got to do that, too. Yeah, got to do the freaking cruising show.
Blake Paris is saying the 2011 era is kind of underrated. What do you boys think?
I don't remember. What the hell was it? 2011 era? I don't remember.
So I don't want you to talk about it because I mean it is what it is. But like I think that we were getting stale there for a minute, and then we added someone else back into the show, and she really kind of clicked. Like it was just like it was that era. I think was funny more than anything.
I kind of remember that now. Okay.
Yeah,
And that
I think that's the era he's talking about.
That would have been the era too when. Would it have been? When did we first start doing the screenings, like the film screening?
It was the first one was in fall of 2011.
Okay.
So the Halloween 4 one.
So there was a lot of cool stuff going on at that time. Yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw video game, I have seen that. That looks really cool, but I just don't have the system to play it. So
I saw the previews for it yesterday, and I was like, I mean, there's some parts of it that look killer, but then there's other parts of it that were just kind of like, I don't like the voice actors in it either. Really, like I think they could have done a better job, just from what I've heard. Although that might change.
I mean, it looks cool. I haven't really looked into it. Sam Crow, would you be excited to see 4Ks of House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects? I feel those movies would look amazing in 4K. Yeah, definitely House of a Thousand Corpses. Very interested in that. Devil's Rejects, if somebody can, like, if Second Sight was to get a hold of it or something, I'd love to see what it would look like. But the Blu-ray that they released of it's not very good.
No, I would love to see how, especially House of a Thousand Corpses. Like that movie is just, even on Blu-ray, it looks insanely good. So I can imagine.
Will we ever get a legit Blu-ray of Troll? There already is a Blu-ray of Troll, isn't there? Didn't they do a 2-pack or whatever?
Yeah, Scream Factory did a 2-pack of Troll and Troll 2.
So, but yeah, we got 115 people in here still. Like that shit. Push it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, so I'm just going to tell you to thumbs it up.
I want you to gently push, gently caress the like button and the bells.
You can fondle it a little bit, but nothing else.
Oh.
What is the best shit that you've ever had?
What the fuck? I don't know. I've had a lot of really good shits. So it's hard to say, really.
The best kind that you can have, I'll just say this, is when you get up first thing in the morning and it's a colon cleanser. It's a total passage. And you get up and you just feel like you're 5 pounds lighter and that you're ready to conquer the world for the day. Now the worst kind of shit that you can have, Uncle Bill, is the kind that's harder than hell to get out. I hate them. Darren Burroughs, whatever happened to Rick of the Dead and Ray Boucher? There's a ton more characters.
Holy shit, that's a good fucking. Those are good questions.
Rick of the Dead is still around. He's actually on the DeadPit.com fans page. He has his own toy store and runs his own convention.
Right, yeah.
Toy Hio, I think, is the name of the toy convention that he does. As far as Ray Boucher, I have no clue what in the hell Ray is up to.
Last I heard, he was managing a store, and that's why he kind of quit.
Well, he doesn't. I don't think Ray and Jay are connected anymore. I don't think they're friends anymore. I don't know what happened there.
It's weird.
Stuntman Mark wants us to do a Siskel and Ebert horror movie review compilation watch along. Yeah, that'd be good.
We actually talked about doing that before. Yeah, I thought that would be a good idea.
Movie Junkie John, any chances y'all doing more parody songs like Dick Shit and Moron? That's possible.
Yeah, there's always a possibility.
Oh, Carlo Jaws, which one of Stephen King's films would you like to see get a sequel?
His is Maximum Overdrive. This is the best shit. Oh, God.
Stephen King's like adaptations.
They've all had sequels, haven't they?
I think they have, yeah.
Like Carrie. Go through all the big ones. The Shining, Carrie.
The Carrie one, that was like few and far. They didn't do a sequel to Christine.
No, they didn't.
That would be a good one.
Pet Cemetery. They've all had sequels.
We'll go with Christine. Would you pay to see Robert Englund in one last Freddy film? Yes.
Yeah.
I would be down for that.
I think he's got one more left in him.
We have not seen Crimes of the Future yet, but I think that's going to be an interesting movie for sure.
Cannot wait to watch that
one. Subjective Perspective Collective is saying that Roar was our best commentary yet.
I agree with that.
Axel, do you want to see The Sadness? We already did see The Sadness, and the review is up on Patreon. So check it out there. And we still have a baller and shot caller spot open, Uncle Bill. That's ridiculous. It's the longest we've ever had one open. It's been open for about 10 days.
Well, I mean, gas is fucking $5-6 a gallon.
That's true.
Groceries are fucking $40,000 if you want to get a cart full of them. So, how much this lettuce? Oh, $200. That's fine.
You want a case of water? That'll be $10.
Shit is so stupid nowadays. We're like approaching Mad Max fucking territory here, don't you? Where it's going to be like people stealing gas and marauders and shit. Like, that's where we're getting to with this.
Thoughts on the Maniac Cop movies?
I've never been like a huge mark for those movies. I don't know why. Everybody always talks about part 2, and I don't know. I don't give a shit about any of them, really. Like, one way or the other.
They're weird. Like, the third one is probably the oddest one, because it's like it just didn't, there wasn't a point of it to be made. And what's even more bizarre is part 2 and 3 are out in 4K.
Yeah, and I see those all the time. I'm like, I want to buy them, but then I'm like, what the fuck? I'm never going to watch them. Like, watch them damn movies again.
Thoughts on People Under the Stairs?
That is a seriously underrated movie, in my opinion. Probably like one of the last great Craven movies.
Thoughts on Bad Moon? That's Michael Paré and Dennis the Menace.
I haven't seen that movie in years. I remember that the werewolf looks fairly decent. That's about it.
Yeah, that's Eric Red movie, I think.
Yeah. It's all practical effects, too, I'm pretty sure.
Joe Jack, do y'all miss video rental stores? My dad's best friend owned a video store, and I was there 10 hours a week. Nothing like it today. We were just talking about that today, actually, me and Uncle Bill in a text.
Yeah.
There were a lot of video stores around here in like the late 80s, early 90s. They started popping up like crazy. And there's nothing like that now at all. I mean, you go on Netflix and look for movies and stuff like that. There's not that spontaneousness. Like, the internet was not around then, really, in any form like it is now, even close. So, like, if you're going in a video store, you don't know what the hell's coming out from week to week. And it's just kind of like, I'm going to try this movie out. And you get 5 movies for $5 for 5 days, like some of these old movies. So it was different for sure.
It's really weird to think about this, but like shitty little tiny video stores that were in like a double wide trailer back in the 80s around here had like an amazing collection of movies. Like, I could remember some of these like places had like horror VHS tapes that you wouldn't probably aren't even out on like DVD or Blu-ray now. So, I mean, it was an amazing time to watch movies around then.
Let's see here. They're going on about the Fog remake, boys. Come on now. We've spent enough time talking about the Fog remake.
It sucks.
Do you remember this, Uncle Bill? I remember this. CK's cat took a dump on Uncle Bill. CK assault. That was on Uncle Bill Gets Brutal.
Yep. Which was probably the best thing we ever did. Just in general.
Yeah, there's so much in that, yeah.
Maybe the Christmas one was better. I don't know. Like those two, Blizzard Bob or that one, I don't know which. I couldn't pick.
What is the craziest behind the scenes shit that happened during the original show that you guys have never really talked about? I don't know. I think we've talked about everything.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that was like blow your skirt up or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no idea. There is this one thing. This is kind of hilarious now looking back at it. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 33, I think. So most of the time we was going to these conventions, I didn't have a driver's license. I wasn't driving at all. And I think it was like Fright Night Film Fest 2008. I think you weren't going to get there until the next day. I rode down there with Goose on that show. I think it was 2008. And Ken, he didn't know me. I mean, as far as like my situation or anything. And I was to drive Danielle Harris around, to get stuff or whatever. That's what I was going to do before the convention started. Back and forth to like the grocery store or whatever she needed to get. And I missed that opportunity, Uncle Bill. That would have been great. So that's one thing I can think of. I may have not talked about
I think you should have still fucking done it. That'd have been the best.
Whose vehicle am I going to drive?
Just take one of their cars. You'd be like, fuck.
That'd been a movie in itself right there, boy.
Yeah, you could. Think about the memories that you would have had then. Danielle Harris would be like, oh my God.
What the hell? Let me out of here.
One of these days, talk about Danielle Harris.
Special editions, the Scream Factory, I mean, I know people are excited about those and good. I mean, it's the first time they've done any sort of features on 2 and 3. So if you're down for that sort of thing, that's good, I guess.
I used to love Child's Play, and then these motherfuckers keep like just drilling it into your fucking head, like these same movies over and over again. Like, I could really care less if I ever see Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, Child's Play, fucking.
I think the thing for me with the Child's Play is for those movies, and I like those movies, but I don't really care about extras in those movies. Like, I'm fine just watching the movie. I'll never listen to a commentary related to those. So the box set that was $20 that I got at Amazon is what I'm hanging with. I'm not going to pay Scream Factory $250 fucking dollars. Overpriced shit is what that is. That collection is, in my opinion.
I think it's a wonderful deal.
Yeah.
Them dipshits.
What they did in this one, though, is they couldn't do the vinyl, right? But they did postcards that are shaped like vinyls. And it's in its own little box, boys. It's a good deal. Sam Crow, thoughts on the Paradise Lost documentary series?
We used to constantly quote this series on the show and like just in general too. Yeah, it's probably like one of the best, if not the best documentaries ever made.
Yeah, I love it. I think that was one of the very early documentaries that kind of got me into watching documentaries back in the day, because they used to play it the first one all the time on HBO, and I watched it numerous times, and the use of the Metallica music in it too.
Yeah. Got
some really creepy stuff in it.
Isn't it bizarre to you too, the way that series turned out? That they actually all got out of jail? Like, you would have never really seen that coming, like when you watched the first one.
This is an interesting one. Rambo's asking, what was the biggest fight or screaming match that you guys ever had with each other? And was there ever a time you tried to fight physically?
No, I don't think we've ever fought physically at all. Was there ever a time when we got pissed off at each other quite a bit, like
Yeah, but it was never for a long period of time, though. I don't remember.
I don't remember. No, I don't either.
I really don't. Like, as far as physical fights, no. Never got even close to that, actually.
No.
Thoughts on Mountaintop Motel Massacre? I need to rewatch it. I've got the Vinegar Syndrome.
I do too, and I haven't watched it either. Like, I really can't even remember it.
But, god damn, well, John DeHart's in here. I just saw his name, but I lost my place again here. Chopping Mall. How did CK and Uncle Bill meet up as kids? What made you become friends? Ooh.
Well, your dad and my mom knew each other like way before I think we were even born, and because they had worked together like different places, so I think that we actually knew each other in that way. You know, had been around each other before, like really, really early age. But it wasn't until like sophomore in high school when we actually there was like a group of people that were all like,
that was our crowd, boys.
I'm not sure how you would even describe that group of people.
Kind of like half redneck, half nerd.
Yeah, basically, who all liked wrestling and movies and four-wheeling
and cars.
And wrestling was the thing that got us like, yeah.
Yeah, I think wrestling's what started it, and then like a couple years after that, we both figured out that we both liked horror movies and stuff like that, and we Uncle Bill would usually come down to my house, and we would watch VHS tapes, is what it was then.
God, that's fucking crazy.
Nah.
What?
John DeHart's asking, do you want to join him for a bath?
Yeah, let's do it.
Horde films, I think Rob Zombie should act more like CK's impression of him.
He does, really.
Yeah, like I think I need to add more of the, because I'm going, yeah, ow. He does that shit too, like some big high, ow, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for the Munsters.
Do you listen to any of the wrestling podcasts like Jim Cornette or Jericho or Stone Cold? Is Stone Cold still doing his podcast?
I don't know. I never really listened to that one that much. The only one I've consistently listened to was Jim Cornette.
Yeah, Jim Cornette's the only other podcast that I actually listen to at all. And his podcast is so goddamn long. Like, he does 2 a week, and they're around 3.5, 4 hours long. So that's all week, really, for me. Like, going back and forth to work and getting ready in the morning and stuff like that. So, now, do you listen to any other podcasts or anything?
I used to listen to, I listened to a couple, but I used to listen to something to wrestle with. But for some reason, that just got old. I don't know, like, just kind of.
Yeah, when that first started, now that was great. I love that podcast.
There's 2 podcasts I listen to, and only 2 right now. And that is Mick Garris's Postmortem, which is on I get it on Stitcher, but like it's on the Dread Network or something like that. Anyway, like it's just him doing like interviews with directors and stars and shit like that. And then How Did This Get Made, which is like a podcast about how like really shitty films got made, and just making fun of like shitty films.
We had Mick Garris on the show back in the day as well.
We did. Yeah. I keep thinking about writing in a question and just being like, "Hey Mick, you were from DEADPIT, buddy. You remember us?" He'll be like, "No, I look like your grandma."
Eric Samuel Perry, Halloween 4K box set coming this year. It's possible. I mean, if it's a box set and the only way you can get it, it's going to make some fucking people mad if you had to rebuy those movies again. I don't think they'll do that. I think what they may do is they'll have the the other four. What is it? 4 movies or 5 movies? I can't remember. I think 5. The other 5 movies.
Well, are they going to do like
6 H2O, Resurrection, and the 2 Rob Zombie movies? Because I don't think they're going to do the new ones. I think that's its own separate trilogy.
I'm curious though, man. Like, if they were to put together a box set, like with all that shit in it, like 4K of all that shit, like, would you buy that? Because you know it's going to be.
I don't think they're going to do that unless they give you the option of just buying the box if you already have the movies.
Here's what I think they're going to fucking do, because I know how they are, them cocksuckers. They're going to fucking release each one of those movies, right? Like independently around October of this year. And then they're going to be like, oh, we got a fucking new, it's a box set. And when you open it up, it's got a Michael Myers mask in it. It's got 14 pins, a hat, a picture of your grandmother. It's like whatever else shit they put in it.
If Eli Roth actually agreed to speak with you, what would you ask him?
That's a fucking amazing question, because I have no idea at this point.
I mean, I think that we would just do the Dead Pit style interview. I would ask him a little bit about this, a little bit about that. How did he get started in making movies? What was some of the films or filmmakers that he really got interested in early on? I think it would be a pretty good interview, honestly. I really do. But he's never going to do it.
No. If this was 10 years ago, I would say, like, my question would be, why are you doing this to me? But nowadays, like, I mean, nobody really lets him make films unless they're documentaries, or it's like a ghost
Alpha Romero. Have you seen the documentary about called American Movie? And that's the one with Mark Borchardt making, what was the movie he was making? I can't remember.
Coven.
Yeah.
Or Coven.
He was saying it Coven.
Yeah.
Because he was from like Wisconsin. And Uncle Bill was in that, a different Uncle Bill. But that's a great movie, man. That's one that's out of print and going for big money. So I'm sure somebody will... I have it in there, I think, on DVD. I'm sure somebody will re-release it on Blu-ray or something.
That's such a great documentary. And one thing I remember about that documentary above anything else is that Kelly was from Wisconsin, right? And he used to shit all over that documentary. He was like, I hate that guy. He's giving us a bad name.
Other than, this is Rambo Raff, other than the Blair Witch Project, were there any found footage films or fake documentaries that you enjoyed or didn't mind?
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, that's kind of an early found footage movie. I kind of like the original Paranormal Activity, the first one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Other than that, though, they're all pretty bad.
This is a weird one. Who had the coolest bedroom in a movie?
Oh God, I know.
What was that?
I would say Pee-wee from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, when you're a little kid, that was pretty damn cool. Like all the shit that he had in there. Do y'all know Johnny Goble from Paintsville, boys?
No. Fuck is Johnny Goble?
I don't know Johnny Goble. Did you guys ever try to interview Sonny Landham?
Hello.
No, but we did meet Sonny Landham. There's a photo that we got with him. He was a nice fella. Mm-hmm.
That's what he did. I swear to God he did that. When we were like next to him, he was making these weird noises. Like, like a tick or something almost.
Like, Big Abner's getting a little aroused down there. You get close to me.
Oh.
Have you guys seen The Gas Second Sight 4K? If so, would you recommend it? Been on the fence about getting it. I like the movie, but I don't think I would go that far to upgrade that movie. Like, it's a pretty expensive set, isn't it?
from what I can remember, yeah, it's like really expensive, like $70 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like that movie enough to spend $70 on it.
Do we enjoy the 1966 Batman TV series? Who's your favorite villain on there, Uncle Bill?
The Penguin. Burgess Meredith. What is it?
This next one I want to mention on here. I would say that, like, just the oddest one for me that I always think of is, wasn't it Egghead? That
I knew
Vincent
you were going to
Price
say
played?
that. Yeah, I actually thought about that, but I was like, yeah.
It's just, like, very out there.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Are you getting the new True Romance 4K coming out? That's coming out from Arrow.
I love that movie, but again, I don't think I'll buy that.
Yeah, I don't even remember it. I've got it on Blu-ray, but I never did open it. I think I've seen it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. What are y'all's top 3 80s slashers? So
Jesus,
you would have to leave
question.
out the franchise ones, I would. Like just standalone slasher movies.
Okay, if you took out like all of the franchises, that'd be easier anyway.
I would put Madman on there for sure. I would also go with Just Before Dawn, be another one.
That's a good one.
I don't know. Name one.
My Bloody Valentine.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Intruder for me would probably be. I think Intruder is like the best, just straight up slasher film. Like there's no real big story to it or anything. It just like immediately starts off. It has some great special effects too.
I would go with The Forest. I'm just gonna say that.
That's good.
This is the one I was laughing at. What's cracking, boys, from Wet Movie 1? Have y'all ever shit your pants in public?
I don't know anybody that hasn't shit their pants like at one point in time or another.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, like, I don't know what the deal is. I remember one time, like, it was, and I still remember this vividly, man. I was in kindergarten. And you remember in kindergarten, like, I don't know if this was like this where everybody grew, everybody lived, their classes and stuff. You had like a nap hour or whatever towards the end of the day.
Yep.
And they had just laid us down. We had our little mats and all that, laid down on it. And I got the urge to shit. And I was just scared that I'd get in trouble if I got up from napping and I just laid there and shit. I just laid there and it come out.
I can just see you.
I was like 6 years old.
Laying there and shitting yourself quietly. Oh, this is not good.
What about you? Any memorable public defecations you want to talk about?
I mean, not that I can honestly remember like shit my pants or anything. Like that is a funny story. One of the funniest things that ever happened to me. Do you remember Twinkie? They used to call him Twinkie.
The janitor?
No, Twinkie was this big kid. His real name was William Salisbury.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was probably in preschool. I think I was, maybe 5 or 6 years old, something like that, 4 or 5 maybe. And then Twinkie was a little bit older than that. And I was walking like down the hallway and I went to the bathroom and Twinkie must have been sick or something like that. Because like when the door opened to the bathroom, like I ran into Twinkie and right into his like stomach. Like he was taller, so I like ran right into his stomach. And he fucking threw up all over my face. And then, because I didn't know like what to do, I just was walking around outside the house, like vomit all over my face, just like in a daze. But yeah, that's the one thing I can definitely remember from that period of time. That was.
Let's see. Oh. If you could choose one horror franchise to get an amazing sequel that knocked your socks off, which one would it be? Which, would it be like, is he asking which movie deserved a sequel that never got a sequel? Or just a franchise in general?
You could choose one horror franchise to get an amazing sequel that knocks your socks off. Which one? Yeah, I think it just means like if you could pick like any of the bigger franchises.
Well, I think the one that deserves it is probably Nightmare on Elm Street. It deserves one last fucking kick-ass movie, and then just be done with it because I
can tell you this: they need to never ever make another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Just stop trying to make that fucking movie work because it's not going to happen.
Do you think Gregory Peck could have been a great tall man in Phantasm? He was the original choice, wasn't he?
I can't imagine that though. Like Gregory Peck was always like a good guy character, you know.
I think I have Mark Borchardt on Facebook. I mean, I haven't never really seen any of his movies other than the documentary. Have you ever seen any of his like films that he made?
No, I didn't know he made any films.
He made Coven.
He made Coven, yeah.
If you could go back and do it all again, would you? Yes. I don't have regrets, Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it 1,000 times over again.
Lake Mungo. I've never seen Lake Mungo. Have you ever seen it?
No. Is it Lake Mungo, baby?
Poor old Mungo. He's in bad health.
He is bad. Yeah, I've seen pictures of him here recently. Yeah. He's down to nothing, like wasted away, really.
Favorite female villain?
For me, it's Betsy Palmer. I mean, I think that's probably the best part of Friday the 13th.
Fat Rob Zombie's in here. He says, pizza rolls, a bagel, bite, yeah, motherfucker.
Fat Rob Zombie's probably my favorite reoccurring character, aside from gay actor Michael Douglas.
Thoughts on Eric C. Kahn? That was one of my favorite running jokes during DEADPIT on the Road segment, passing by that damn statue or whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, it took that long for anybody to do anything about him. But, like, everybody in the area knew what the hell he was doing.
There is a documentary out right now that I desperately want to see called, like, The Great Con or something like that. That's on Apple TV, and I cannot figure out how to get it because it's not streaming on anything except Apple TV, and I'm not fucking subscribing to Apple TV to watch it.
Fuck that, yeah. Intruder, that's one of Uncle Bill's favorites. I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, like I said, like it is one of the most underrated slashers that nobody really knew about.
I'm just crazy about this store.
Just the idea that like that guy has killed everybody because the store's shutting down is fucking amazing.
The coolest celebrity that we've hung with. Well, we mentioned Tiffany Shappas. I think Kevin Tenney's another one.
Kevin Tenney, John Dugan. The worst one, fuck, it has to be Danny Steinman, doesn't it? Just because he's such a dick.
Yeah. That was total letdown because we were excited. We were planning on doing, was it Savage Streets commentary with Danny Steinman? Wasn't that the original plan? Like we
I think so, yeah.
But it never happened because Danny Steinman went to bed at like 9:30 or whatever. He didn't live very much longer after that either. Like, no. I think he'd passed away like maybe a year later.
The only thing I can remember about him being there is just him getting on to us for our table being too close to his. Get your shit out of here. I'm Danny Steinman. Fuck you.
A movie that's so bad it's funny, Uncle Bill.
Troll 2?
Troll 2, so bad it's good. I think Last Slumber Party's another one I think Dana was talking about recently.
Champagne and Bullets.
Champagne and Bullets.
Yeah.
Don't Go in the Woods Alone.
Yep.
Dirk is asking what is a film that you hated at first but loved after the second watch.
Shaun of the Dead for me. Like I didn't like Shaun of the Dead at all when I first saw it.
I'll tell you one that's weird, man. Like, I don't even know what happened, really. But the first Lord of the Rings movie, the very first time I watched it, I didn't get it at all. And I was like, what in the fuck? The Fellowship of the Ring or whatever.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm a huge fan of it or anything, but the second time I watched it, I just absolutely loved it for some reason. Like, that hardly ever happens. That was one. As far as the horror movie goes, I don't even know, really. Maybe Friday the 13th, the original. First movie you saw in the theater, do you remember yours? From 1,000 Meter Films?
For some reason, Poltergeist 2 comes to my mind, but I'm sure there was something before that.
I think mine was like E.T. It wouldn't have been the year it came out in 82, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was the next year. Like, I was 3 years old, I believe. Any paranormal or alien experiences?
No, I haven't had anything up my butt in a long time.
Doodle! I bet Doodle's like probably 14, 15 years old now at least.
Doodle! Get over here!
Hey, getting hotter! It's getting hotter, Doodle! Come on! Who the hell named their kid Doodle? Are we going to pick up the Friday the 13th 4Ks?
They're sticking to the Blu-ray box set. That's a good question, actually.
I'm going to say probably yes, because they're going to put those on sale. They'll probably end up being $14 or $15.
Yeah.
And we won't be able to say no. Paramount's in a weird spot, though, because they're in the middle of doing the steelbooks on regular Blu-ray. Do you think they'll make it through all 8 movies and, re-release them all on steelbook with the poster art?
Yeah, I definitely think they'll do that. Like, eventually they're going to just rip the shit out of people. But I would probably get all of it. That's just one of those series where I would probably buy any incarnation of those movies.
We talked about this, Lucio Inferno. Favorite Black Sabbath album with well, I said mine was Heaven and Hell.
It's got to be. Although I think Mob Rules is a great album.
Yeah, both of those kind of go hand in hand almost, but yeah.
And Dehumanizer is kind of a piece of shit, but
it's like there's a buddy of ours in school that we always used to make fun of because he was a gigantic Dio mark. And I think what got me and you both more into Dio was that Heaven and Hell album. When we got into that, and he never ever talked about that album. Do you remember this? Like,
yeah, never. Well, it's like he was one of those kids though, and still is. That's always like his progression of music was way ahead of ours. So, like, in other words, there's a progression that you go through of shit you listen to. And, like, well, when we were listening to, like, whatever was popular on the radio and AC/DC and stuff like that, he was listening to fucking Dio and crap like that. And now he's, like, listening to fucking European, like, Hammerfall and, you know what I mean? Like, he just...
Iced Earth.
Yeah, he just went, like... He was already so into metal that we could never catch up with him now. He's in some sort of, like, weird rabbit hole of like European metal bands now.
Thank you for subscribing, Mr. Nomad 1978. And hit that like button, you damn heathens.
Yeah.
So yeah, get your questions in here. We have gone, Jesus Christ, nonstop with questions for over 2 hours, Uncle Bill, because we started pretty much right off the bat here.
Somebody put, this is killer, favorite Phil Collins Genesis songs. It's such a hilarious question for some reason. All the Same, though, by the way. It's my favorite.
I get Phil Collins Genesis songs and just Phil Collins songs mixed up.
Yeah, I mean...
Elves gets my vote. I think he's talking about it so bad it's good. Yeah, that's a good one, too.
I'll tell you another movie in general, speaking of that question about like that you watched and hated and then went back and watched, is Last Action Hero. Like, when that movie came out, I thought it was the biggest piece of shit ever, and I've watched it, like, a couple times, like, last couple
What
of
about
years.
Halloween 3? When you first watched Halloween 3, did you like it?
That's another one. No, of course not, because you're, like, expecting Michael Myers to be in the son of a bitch, and, like...
I didn't watch that until many years later. I think the first time I watched that, I bought the VHS tape at Walmart or something. It was like the Anchor Bay VHS tape. Or, I don't know if it's Anchor Bay or Good Times or one of them companies like that. And that may have been the first time I'd ever seen it, because I would always been told that, oh, you don't want to watch that one. That's the one that ain't got Michael Myers in it.
That's what kept everybody away from it, yeah.
I'll tell you one movie, though. This is a weird one, because, like, when Batman came out in '89, that kind of rejuvenated, like, the summer blockbusters, right? So the next summer, it was Dick Tracy. You remember this? Dick Tracy shit was everywhere.
Yes.
That Dick Tracy movie fucking sucks. It is a gigantic piece of shit.
I don't know, though. Like, when I saw it, I really thought it sucked. But did it suck? I guess it did suck. Like, the makeup and stuff in it was pretty bad.
William Forsythe is in it. He was one of the baddies in it. Another interesting thing, too, that I think I had heard, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, Warren Beatty owns the Dick Tracy, the rights for the movies and shit. I'm almost positive he does. I think he owns it outright. Like the property for films.
Jesus.
I thought that was weird, yeah. He must be a big fan. Rye Guy's asking if we've ever hung out with Piz.
Yeah, he's been to several conventions that we were at, like, back in the day.
He was at almost all of them, I think.
Yep.
And he lives not too awful far from here, maybe an hour and a half or so.
Yep, we met him a lot of time.
Which Blu-ray labels are you most fed up with, Uncle Bill?
Scream Factory and honestly, at this point, probably fucking Severin, because they're just like releasing a bunch of horse shit. But definitely Scream Factory first.
Synapse, buddy, for Steve. Steve has fucking had it. He cut the biggest promo on them ever was.
Listen here, I'll never talk bad about Synapse. I don't give a damn what they do. Don May Jr. can come in here and shit on my bed like fucking Amber Heard, and I'm still gonna sing their praises because that stuff's amazing.
How many streaming channels do you guys have access to?
All those on there, I've got that he mentioned: Netflix, HBO Max, Shudder, Paramount Plus. I've got and Hulu because it's only like $3 or $4 a month.
Well, Voodoo we use quite a bit,
Yeah.
and if anybody wants to contribute codes, I'm gonna start. I need to make like a commercial like I did back in the day. But yeah, all of us have access to that Voodoo account. So me and Uncle Bill and Steve and Garrett. So a lot of the newer movies and shit, that's how I would rather watch them because I'm not buying that shit. The Vince McMahon scandal, we kind of talked about that a little bit. I think this is the end for him. I mean, they're going to make him go away, I think.
Yeah, he needs to, though, because he's not able to do that shit anymore anyway, clearly.
Rambo Raff, what made you first start the YouTube channel? I remember back in 2006, y'all had uploaded the On the Road for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. What prompted you to start doing YouTube videos and creating the channel? YouTube was different, like, around this time period, so... I mean, I don't know. It was like, it was just another avenue for us to kind of promote our show, our radio show. And we didn't really upload nearly the amount of stuff that, like in 2006 and 2007, it's just like a handful of videos, mainly review videos and stuff. But I can't even really remember.
I can't either, is the thing. Like, I was sitting here trying to, like, I don't know.
I had the Kodak, like, ancient ass, like, easy share camera that I was recording those videos with, and they looked terrible.
Yeah.
You can go back and look, like, some of those early videos. But I figured out a way to use the audio from the radio show, it wasn't a podcast, and do videos that way. So, but yeah, guys, this has been a crazy. I didn't think that this would go over like this. I mean, I didn't know, but Jesus Christ, we've had 100 plus people in here all damn night. 111 right now. So
yeah, and the questions just keep like coming, which is amazing.
Yeah, we appreciate it for sure, and thumbs up the video. That definitely helps, and share it and everything like that. Help us get the word out there. Wet Movie is still in here. Since you guys live in Kentucky, do you know anybody that their mom's their sister and their sister's their uncle? No, but not personally, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen some out and about for me.
No, I don't think that. I mean, there's a video, a couple videos I've watched with like this family in West Virginia that are really like inbred and all this stuff, but I don't know of anybody like that around here.
Favorite ending to a horror movie?
Who the fuck knows, man? We've seen like 8 million horror movies. How you gonna pick one of them?
I think Friday the 13th, the original, is a hell of an ending. I like that one. I don't know though, man. I'm not good at shit like that.
Friday with Friedkin. Yeah. That may be a new show.
See, I wasn't imagining that. Rambo knows it. Warren Beatty bought the Dick Tracy rights in 1985 and even won a lawsuit around 2011 to keep it.
So what the hell's he doing with them, though? There hasn't been anything else Dick Tracy related, and like.
Well, how old is Warren Beatty at this point? He's got to be like in his 80s at least.
That's true.
So, Mike B is asking about the Dead Pit hats. Those have already dropped. I'm in the process of mailing them fucking things out, which is not easy to find a box that'll fucking, So we may do more in the future, but as of right now, they're sold out. People like them hats. Of The Exorcist, we're going to wrap this up. What do you think, Uncle Bill? Last question?
Sure. Because this could go on for a while.
This could go on for a while. Of the Exorcist franchise, which do you consider your absolute favorite and most underrated movie?
Of the Exorcist franchise, which would you consider your absolute favorite and the most underrated? I mean, it's got to be one. Has got to be my favorite, and then 3 would be the most underrated. Because 2, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. There's nothing about 2 that's underrated. It's rated exactly the right way.
It's rated S for shit.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely the favorite would the original. I want to see the original in 4K. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet, but yeah, of that franchise, I would say 3 is the underrated one. So, guys, I guess that is it. But man,
what a show! What a show!
We went through a hell of a lot of questions.
So I think this would be a good time, though, to thank everybody for coming, but also for me to say that Monday, this coming Monday, is Monday Night Jaws. And I'm looking for a co-host, you bunch of pussies. Like, listen, it's a show about Jaws 3. All right? It's not going to be that difficult to do. Just man up.
I can tell you this. The highlight video for Jaws 3 in the beginning is going to be fucking hilarious because there's one scene that's in that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in forever, but Jesus Christ, that is like, what the fuck is going on?
There's one scene, I was watching it, because I just recently watched it again, and like Savannah was sitting in there and everything, and we were both like looking at each other like, is that fucking real? Did they really put that in that movie? Like, it looks so fucking bad. And I guess it was just for the 3D part, but it's like ridiculously bad.
Also coming up on Tuesday, we are going to be on Mid-Level Media's greatest collector show, greatest physical media collectors. And that's going to be big because like his channel is growing like crazy, and he's got a really good thing there with physical media and stuff like that. So definitely check out that show. It's going to be more of this probably, but only about physical media. So those shows are always fun. I actually went back and checked out Garrett's show again to catch me up on exactly what to expect on this. So that'll be fun. And we're doing a really cool show. I'm not sure the date. It's going to be next week. I think is it Friday? Is that what day we're going to do it on? I don't know if we've picked the exact day yet. But we're doing a...
What's that now?
For the physical media.
The Hall of Fame show?
The Hall of Fame, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. We're starting to work on that right now.
Yeah, that show is going to be tough, though. I've got a couple of things I've already looked at that to put in that. But, I mean, you think about all the releases that have come out that have been amazing over the years. That's going to be tough to whittle that down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's 6 inductees for the Hall, Haul of Fame. So you get it? We're clever motherfuckers here. Yeah.
Look here, man. Look here. Rambo's up to doing it. Fucking A, Rambo. Let's do it. It's on Monday at 10 o'clock. I'll send you a link.
Rambo knows his shit, for sure.
Yep.
And I'm working on something. I'm still working on it, Rambo. Uncle Bill has seen the idea, but I'm tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to send Rambo a little gift. I think he's going to appreciate it. But, guys, we appreciate all of you guys checking this out live. These shows seems like they're getting more popular. So this sort of thing, like the Q&A thing, I mean, this is something that we can do whenever. But, yeah, this is the first one we've done in a while, and people seem to really like this shit.
Hell yeah, I didn't know. Like, you never know what to expect on these, man, but I'm glad it went over well. People seem to like it, so stick around, man.
Yeah. So that is it. We will catch you guys Monday for Monday Night Jaws, brought to you by
DEADPIT.com.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
For this video officially, it's Oak Curlyjaws has a message for you. Go on over to shop.deadpit.com and go look at their Team Public store right now. We've got some new shirts like the Oak Curlyjaws official t-shirt, which is brutal and badass. You got the Yummy Gummy shirt with the captain himself on the shirt. You got Uncle Bill's face on a fucking shirt. You got the Final Girl shirt. You got all these shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Get them before they're all out, especially the new one, Bedtime's in 39. It doesn't get better than that, so go on out. Check out these shirts at shop.deadpit.com. Go look at their Team Public store. You're going to have a good old time. Get them all!
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.